Yo, how's it going everybody? It's me, Arctic. Today's video I'm basically going to be talking about how to build Kujou Sara as a DPS. Now, this I don't think is necessarily her best completely role. However, we're basically going to be talking about how to optimize her for doing a little bit of charge attack damage, and then also just her general playstyle, focusing around her charge shots, and also some of her abilities and how good they're actually going to be for actual DPS. If you are new to the channel, remember to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We're making some pretty good progress. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So in terms of base stats, Kujou Sara doesn't really have that crazy of a base attack. However, basically what her elemental skill does is it gives her attack based on her base attack. And so effectively you're going to be increasing your own damage and also party members damage. I think it does as well. So effectively Kujou Sara can be used as a supporting type character for other characters and also a support for her own self. Yeah, and in terms of her damage scaling, her ult does have a really nice damage scaling right here, and it actually puts these storm cluster type things and tide breakers all around you. I don't know if this titan breaker thing right here is just the initial slash with these little storm clusters being the things that go out around her doing a little bit of damage. I think that's what it actually is, if I'm not mistaken, but this initial slash is a pretty high amount of damage, so it overall is a pretty good ability. It does cost 80 energy, and so that is going to be pretty good if you are playing her with a Raiden Shogun as well. You can basically take care of your energy cost needs with using Raiden and Sara as a sub DPS slash support for Raiden. But we're mainly talking about DPS for Sara if you guys are only using her as the main central focus of your team. So weapons that I would recommend for the DPS build are going to be Alley Hunter. Alley Hunter is alright if you are off the field for a little bit. However, its base stats are still pretty good. 144 base attack right here, and then you get attack percent ascension, which is going to be nice. The high base attack is going to give her more attack based on her crow feathers, so that is something to keep in mind. You're going to be getting a lot of attack with this, and if you do have her off the field for a little bit, you're popping your supports a Xingqiu or some other different supports, it could be pretty decent to actually pair with this character. Bow is probably what I'm going to use because basically with Blackcliff, if you are going for headshots with your charge attacks, headshot damage always crits with bow characters. So you're basically going to be taking full advantage of that crit damage stat right here. And also its passive right here is very good for main DPS type of characters. Or when you're defeating enemies you get extra attack percent for 30 seconds, which is going to be pretty good. Prototype Crescent is always also a bow that I would recommend as well, because when you get a headshot you increase your attack percent. And it's going to be increased by quite a bit, so it is generally pretty good overall on all of your abilities on this character. That is also pretty easily acquirable through the crafting station. Sacrificial Bow is something I could recommend as well because it has a high base attack, which is going to be nice, an energy recharge substat, so if you are running her main DPS you can keep her burst up a little bit more. And also it has a chance to reset her elemental skill cooldown, which is just going to in turn give you a little bit more orbs and also give you some more elemental skill DPS and also keep her crow feather uptime pretty good. Skyward Harp is a great option as well. It gives you some extra crit rate, it gives you some crit damage, and also its base attack is very high for the bows. It's the highest base attack bow in the game right now. And then also we've got Amos Bow, which is a pretty good option as well since she does focus on her normal and charge attacks a little bit if you are going DPS. And also based on Diz, you're gonna have to run up and get that with C0, but if you have the constellation that you can activate your crow feather right on top of her and get that attack boost, this I think will be a little bit better because you can keep your distance a bit. You could run a taunt supports Ganyu. You could use Ganyu in a team with this somehow. It could be pretty decent actually. And Thundering Pulse is probably one of her pretty good DPS options as well, because it increases your attack by 20%, and so overall its base stats are nice. Its little stacks thing right here doesn't really factor in too much unless you are using her auto normal attacks. However, she doesn't get electro infusion, so it's a little bit worse I guess. Its base stats, yeah, this is going to give you a lot more crit damage, and it has a pretty good base attack. So overall I think it would be a pretty decent option. As for artifact sets that I think would work pretty well, let's say Wanderer's Troop would be nice if you are planning on using your charge attacks a whole bunch. If you don't have another better charge attack DPS, it could work. This set I think would be a pretty lackluster option, to be honest. You can go a 2-piece of this and 2-piece Glad or something. I think that would be a pretty good option. However, it's like 4-piece. Decreasing your elemental skill cooldown isn't necessarily worth it that much, considering it is on like a 3-second cooldown. So it really can be like reset pretty fast. Also, Blige is a set that could be pretty nice since her elemental burst does do quite a bit of damage. This would be pretty nice. And also its 4-piece is good for the support build. However, you could still go like 2-piece burst damage and then 2-piece electro damage if you are going for her more DPS oriented routes. Bolide is fine if you are using like a shield support like a Zhongli. That could be pretty nice. You get that extra 40 normal and charge attack damage. And that's what a lot of people use with like Ganyu and Zhongli. It does a pretty good combo. You could also use Thunder Soother as a set if you are planning on going like all electro characters in your team pretty much. Since if you are keeping Sara on the field most of the time, she's going to be applying electro at a pretty good rate. And so you're going to be able to keep that extra 35% damage bonus against enemies affected by electro. And now like I just want to talk about Tenacity set real quick right here. Because apparently there is like a HP scaling bow that has been in the database for a long time. It's like a Jade bow or something. It's been in the database a long time. No news on a release date, however. However, like HP would be pretty fine, and the 4-piece of this is pretty nice with her elemental skill cooldown. However, this is more of like a support set, to be honest. But you could be able to get that extra 20% like attack from this. And if like that HP bow does come out, it could be a pretty good combo with this. So I just want to cover that real quick. Shimenawa's 4-piece, that could work pretty nicely if you are trying to focus a little bit less on your elemental burst. If you are using like a Raiden as a support or something like that, you would have to use as much like energy basically for this. However, like she does reset like her E-spell cooldown pretty fast. It's like a 3-second duration. I don't know if like as long as this effect is up, if you can't sap that energy again. If that's how it is, then it's honestly not that bad. I've seen people actually try this out with Xiao, and it actually works with Xiao. If you have like Constellation 1, Constellation 1 is what I would kind of recommend this for. But like you do start getting rotation issues after you get past like the first and second rotation, is from what I've been hearing. And so with Sara, this wouldn't necessarily be a problem considering that her elemental burst doesn't heavily require for her DPS. However, it is still a pretty good burst, and yeah, I would still try to stray away from this set just because of its energy sapping cost. But it still can work pretty good if you are going for like charge attack damage. But it's not that crazy. Alternatively, what you can do is as a main DPS, going for more of a burst main DPS kind of route where you're like using your elemental skill and your elemental burst pretty much. Basically becoming a burst support and using the Emblem of Severed Fate set. And this 4-piece is going to increase your like elemental burst damage by up to 75%. And yeah, like overall it's a pretty good set. If you're running like some more energy recharge focused weapons like a sacrificial bow, this could work pretty nicely. And you basically are going to be turned into like a burst support. And it's not a bad thing. I actually think that's what Sara's best kind of build is going to be. Also, what the heck is this? What the heck is this like commercial down here? It's like some sort of weird wacky looking weird thing. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's basically it for the build. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Doing a more so of a support version of Kujou Sara's build, and then doing like a more so general complete build guide talking about like what's actually the best on her and more so like that. I think I'm going to start doing that a bit more so, talking about like what weapons are the best on the character and like what options are all the options that you have depending on what builds you go for. Generally trying to possibly keep my content a little bit shorter. I don't know. Trying to keep around that like 6-minute to 8-minute mark, depending on how much content we have to cover. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been me, Arctic. We'll see you guys next time. Farewell.